Well, it's not such a good afternoon as we begin Midcap Radar, but you're watching the show and we're coming to you live from the CNBC-TV18 Motilal Oswal studio. I am Rima, with me is Vivek. And Vivek, I think the only silver lining is the Nifty is valiantly trying to hold on to the 22,800 mark. We went below it. The low today was 22,774, but we're trying to reclaim because that's an important support.
That's the important support level. Good afternoon, Rima. It's a day where bears have taken complete control and there's been no respite from the selling pressure at all. But we have quite a lot lined up on the show. Let's start off with the top headlines. Midcaps take a battering as selling resumed after yesterday's reprieve. Trump's reciprocal tariffs don't help sentiment. Healthcare and industrials are the biggest losers.
Pharma sector feels the heat of the US reciprocal tariff threat as Donald Trump says tariffs on pharma and other sectors coming soon. Sharp sell-off seen in pharma names like Natco, Loris, Glenmark, Lupin, Granules.
United Breweries registered double-digit revenue growth and accelerated volume growth in a seasonally weak quarter. Management says will gradually increase the gross margin. Stock, however, comes off the day's highs.
Deepak Nitrite nosedives in trade, reacting to weak Q3. The company's advanced intermediate and Phenolics margins fall to the lowest level. Management says both segments going through short-term challenges.
Manappuram tanks in trade as company registers weak gold loan growth sequentially. MFI book also witnesses sharp decline. Net profit also comes down by 51% on a year-on-year basis.
Well, it's a 200-point cut on the Nifty as we speak. The Nifty is just about holding on to the 22,000 mark. 22,800 mark. But the situation in the market is very, very tenuous. We dipped below it just at about 1 o'clock. And remember why we keep harping on this level of 22,800 and roughly around that level, because that's where we formed the double bottom. The first low happened in Jan, and then earlier this week also the markets went down to levels of 22,800 and managed to recover a tad bit. So holding on to this level will be very, very crucial to provide any sort of stability because the fear is that if this level gets breached, then perhaps we're in for more weakness. It's an across-the-board sell-off. There's literally no place to hide. The Midcap index is now down more than 3%. Vamakshi is here with the Midcap movers. Vamakshi.
Well, absolutely, Rima. You know, it's Valentine's Day and it's red across the screen, unfortunately, for all of us. When we look at the top losers today, you know, many to point out, but, you know, let's just look at the stocks that are declining the most in the trading session today. Natco Pharma is seeing a hit of almost 8% today. In fact, it has touched its one-year intraday low. KFIN is another counter that is taking a knock of almost 9%. Loris Labs as well as Emcure Pharma, some other counters that are down and out in trade. In fact, for Emcure, it has touched the lowest level since its IPO. Apart from that, lots of stocks reacting to their numbers today. Concord Bio is another counter that is down and out nearly 20%. It has hit its lower circuit now. In fact, this is the biggest intraday loss for the company on record. Deepak Nitrite too down nearly 15%, biggest intraday fall since March 23, 2020, which is when the lockdown for COVID was announced. Manappuram Finance near the day's lowest point, down nearly 10%. Kalpatru Projects is another counter that is down and out in trade today. Apart from that, a whole host of pharma healthcare counters under pressure today. Piramal Pharma down nearly 6%. We have Glenmark Pharma as well as Granules India that are down and out nearly 6% in trade, and Aurobindo Pharma is another counter that is down nearly 4%. On the flip side, there are still certain counters that are managing to hold in the green in such a bearish market. We have Godfrey Phillips, that stock is reacting to a strong set of numbers, up nearly 16% in an otherwise weak market. Go Digit is another counter that is up nearly 1.5%. Chalet Hotels and Ajanta Pharma are some of the stocks that are bucking the trend today.
Thank you so much, Vamakshi. You managed to find a few stocks in the green, even amidst the sea of red that we are seeing across. But let's now welcome Jay Thakkar of ICICI Securities for a technical check on the market. Good afternoon, Jay. Thank you so much for joining us. Where do you see the next support levels as far as the indices are concerned? It's a very significant and steep sell-off that we are witnessing today.
Good afternoon to you, Vivek, and good afternoon to you, Rima. Well, see, I think that the 22,800 zone, definitely on a closing basis, as Rima rightly pointed out, is important because we have seen the previous two bottoms having been formed there around those levels, 786 and thereafter 789, 798 is something like that. I think so, yes, 22,800 on a closing basis is important. But, below that, I would say that if I join the previous two swing lows, then 22,600 also becomes a very crucial support, Vivek. And, if I look at the overall fall, I mean, that's something very interesting which has happened. from which we can gauge what could be the max level of the fall in this particular leg. So the first fall was from 26,300 until 23,300 approximately. That was of 3,000 points. Then it bounced back by 1,500 points. That is 50%. The next fall was from 24,800 to 22,800 approximately. So that was by 2,000 points, so 1,000 points lower. And then the bounce was by 50%. That is 1,000 points. So I think that now whatever fall we are seeing is going to be less by 2,000. So 3,000, 2,000, probably 1,500 or something like that on the max side. So if 23,800 was the recent high, so on the max case, I would say 22,300 should be the ultimate support in this particular leg. And on an immediate basis, 22,600 is a crucial support. So I think that market, wherein in this particular leg we are seeing good amount of cash liquidation as against the short buildup, I think this could be the final leg of the fall, which has started from 26,300 at least. So thereafter we can see some medium-term bounce back. And I have two recommendations as far as this recent sell-off which we have seen. The first one is on emphasis. I think that emphasis among the IT has been one of the underperformer recently. The important crucial support level has been broken down. So on the upside, one can place a stop loss at around 2,700. Vivek, one can sell now on bounce at around 2,600 as well, and target 2,400 to 2,300 on the downside. And contra bet would be on SRF. I mean, that stock has recently outperformed and it has broken out from a huge consolidation. So SRF currently trading around the levels of 2,740. One can accumulate until 2,700. Placing a stop loss below 2,600 on a closing basis, one can target 2,850 to 2,900 going forward.
Thank you very much, Jay, for joining in. I was just looking at BSC. 539 stocks are at a 52-week low today, and 474 stocks are at a lower circuit today. That just gives you the extent of the damage that we're seeing in today's trading session. Get into a break. On the other side, we'll get you more in the markets. Welcome back. The mid-cap index is down 3 and the small-cap index is down 4. But we're wrapping up the Growth Code, which is an initiative by Grow and CNBC-TV18. And it's important at times like these, to make sure the traders understand the risk of trading in illiquid options and how to manage these.
F&O trading is on the rise with market volume growing 30 times since 2018. But many traders are unaware about the risks of illiquid options.
Majority of the retail traders are jumping onto those options where liquidity is less, because that's where they can see the movement of an option price is very, very high and heavy. Now, there is a lot of problem with something like this.
Intraday price variation in the F&O segment can be anywhere between 200 to 2,000%, with record movement of even 39,900% for one illiquid stock option. With price swings so wild, these illiquid options can erode your capital in seconds.
You need to be aware that the option can become illiquid if the underlying stock prices move too far too fast. So you have to be careful about that the options are not exercised, because then a huge amount is required, else you will be penalized.
Illiquid options have also become extremely attractive for manipulators, compounding losses of unwitting retail traders.
I would say SEBI has been doing everything it takes to curb that manipulation, but it can still happen. And it's very important that retail traders should understand these kind of manipulations happen.
Periodic call auctions have been brought in to curb volatility, and SEBI is extremely active in penalizing manipulation of illiquid options, at times passing an average of 3 orders a day.
Firstly, what you have to do is check the open interest of that specific strike. Does it have enough open interest buildup? Secondly, before the event, like a result announcement, if you want to buy an option, ensure you are able to hedge the option in case of an adverse movement to the extent of 5, 10, 15% if the underlying moves.
Investing in options requires caution. Always prioritize liquidity and do your due diligence to safeguard your investments.
Welcome back to Midcap Radar. Well, Winnie is standing by. She has details on Senco Gold, and that too is a sharp mover in the session today.
Absolutely. Senco Gold actually reported a weak set of numbers in quarter 3. We saw the revenue growth of 27% coming in, but profits of the company were down by 69%. Margins of the company saw a decline and just came in at around 3.8% versus 10.9% last year. Now, when we spoke to the management, certain key highlights came in. One, they said that they continue to maintain their guidance. For FY25, they see that the revenue growth will come in the range of 18 to 20% for the full year. And obviously, they're seeing a 7% EBITDA margin as well. For FY26 also, they expect this growth to continue. They're expecting your revenue and top line to come in at around 7,500 crores for FY26 and margins in the range of 7 to 8%. This time the margins were impacted because there was that custom duty adjustment that has come in Q3. Because of that, we're seeing the impact coming in overall on the business in Q3. Studded jewelry hasn't seen that much of a good demand this time, but in Q4 they've started seeing a recovery and seeing green shoots as of now. So that could be a positive as well. Studded ratio, they expect that to be in the range of 11 to 11.5%. But yes, as of now, we did see the pressure coming in Q3 because that custom duty adjustment which was made, and that is what is impacting the operational performance. Slowly and steadily, next year, we could expect the margins to come back to 7 to 8%.
Well, thank you so much, Winnie, for joining us and giving us what exactly transpired as far as Senco Gold was concerned. Well, we are looking at the broader end of the markets, and it's a very, very weak session. Have a look at the Nifty Midcap Index or the NSE Midcap Index. It's now down over 3%, and the Small Cap Index is down over 4%. The advanced decline ratio, both on the NSE as well as BSE, as expected, is extremely skewed in favor of the declines. There's a very sharp selling pressure, and at least at this point of time, Rima, there appears to be no respite from the selling pressure that the market is witnessing.
I'm just amazed at the kind of losses for this week.
Right.
So, for instance, Natco Pharma, in 2 days only, it's lost about 30-odd%, but KFIN is down 26% from just in this week. And from its 52-week high, it's seen a fall of close to about 44%. Piramal Pharma also down nearly 18-19% this week. There are so many such stocks which have lost about 20%
You just
in a span
mentioned the
of 2
Realty
days.
Pack as well, right?
And the Realty Pack, that's down 21. The index itself is down 21% from the start of the year.
Wow.
But some of these mid-caps have lost 15, 20, 25% in the case of KFIN in this week itself. Well, with that, it's curtains down on Midcap Radar. Thank you for watching. Don't go anywhere. Your Stocks is up next.